This is Lyle Paps, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the consistency of your consciousness. Um, this is a big topic without realizing it. I think that people always wonder why, even if they're putting in an effort to have a better social outcome. Take a step back here. What I'm talking about is sociality in general, how two people interact. Uh, a lot of the time, obviously, unless you're a social introvert, I've been there, I know this for a fact. There was a point in time where I wanted nothing more but to have a bad outcome with another human being. And this was to prove to myself that the reality around me was inherently bad. I wanted to see that people were scum. Things like that. I wanted to prove that the projections I was making with my mind were right, even though they weren't necessarily. But because of the mentality that I was wearing, I was only drawing off of a certain edge and a certain part of what human beings are. So I'm sorry for getting a little broken here, so I'll get back to it. Yes, the consistency of your mentality. Oftentimes, and this is something I've been coming up with a lot recently, you'll be having an interaction with another human being, and even though you're putting in a good effort, there is still a little bit of a mental clash. Everybody can attest to this, obviously. Those awkward pauses that you find in a conversation. Um, these awkward pauses come up because essentially the consistencies of the other two people's mindsets are like clashing. You're not going on the same wavelength. You are at a disadvantage inherently as soon as you start trying to work with this mixture because this other person is not trying to do so. They don't know how because there is a large part of the population that isn't trying to um, master sociality, so to speak. There are a lot of people who want to get better, to know other people, and be social, and yes, and fantastic, but uh, breaking it down in a sort of methodical way, it's not very common. So you have to realize that that person is going freeform and they're just following their own emotional reactions without putting in any reinforcements, like without trying to fix their emotional direction and get a certain outcome, so to speak. So it's like obviously you have to be a wavering indicator, like a wavering compass when you're talking to that person. You have to try and constantly match their wavelength. But the important thing to remember is that no matter how much effort you put in without first changing the texture of your mindset, you won't be able to break through that disconnect and have a better interaction because of the fact that you're stuck up in your head and you have mental pauses. Um, and I'm finding that a lot of these things can just be fixed with mental assertion. Um, Clear my head for one moment. Right. So, anyways, um, yeah, it's really simple. For example, I have a hard time relating to older people. Honestly, I have a very very strong dislike for like the 45-year-old like woman type. They tend to be so rude. Anyways, it's a deep topic. But anyways, I was having a hard time connecting with these people when I was working at the kiosk today, trying to sell no no. It's very difficult. So anyways, with that mental clash, I was losing them because I was trying to talk on a level that they weren't familiar with. I was trying to go too intellectual when they just wanted to hear like results. This is silver bullet, like all that sort of stuff. So I really, really had to take a second and realize what I was trying to do, what kind of leverage I was trying to put into place with my conversation. And I realized that even though I was speaking very effectively in my own field, like I was shooting with a very narrow range. I was shooting with a very like very few people would catch on to this. So I learned that I had to change the flow of where I was putting my energy into my conversation and bringing it down to result time periods and like things like that, things that they could connect with. It's all about sending out the signals that another person can connect with. And at that point in time, I started seeing better results. There was better rapport, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to turn into a closing sale. They're just coming back because right now there's income tax checks that are out, and when they come back I will reap sales. But essentially I'm at the No kiosk because it's a really good practice for learning how to sell anything, and that'll be really help me in the future because make money. But yes, I just sort of wanted to make that video and kind of like talk about that topic a little bit. Just I wanted to have that conversation, more or less. I wanted to speak that out. So comment or something like that, like have this conversation with me. Make videos back, please. Like do your own like little spiel. I'd really love to hear what you have to say. All right, peace out, homie.